Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert, coming to you live with another Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. Let me sip. I see that I've gone overboard with my lipstick. So today I am actually streaming on 3 different platforms at the same time. We've got Facebook, we've got YouTube, and we've got LinkedIn, which is what I usually do in China as I try to fix my lipstick. And we've got this. I've got a huge injury on my hand. It's kind of disgusting. I don't want to show you too closely. It's going to be on camera. I had an accident. I have to wear this thing. I've had to wear it. I just took it off because I'm just so tired of it and it has to air out. But my stitches are getting removed tomorrow. I was in the States last week and it happened in the gym of the Hyatt or wherever the heck I was, and the Marriott, I think it was. And then I was putting a dumbbell back in its cradle. It was kind of heavy. So then I left my hand and the skin got crushed and stuck in between the metal cradle, and then it ripped the whole thing. It was lovely. And it was just such a deep, long cut. It was right on the knuckle. I was in kind of a shock. The hotel security manager, amazing guy, took me in his personal car, took me from, one hospital to, we couldn't get in. So he took me, because I'm Canadian. I don't have insurance. I have, just my Canadian free healthcare back in Canada. And I just had to go and take care of it myself at the CVS. And he helped me wrap it up. But in the meantime, it's still bleeding. And I had to do a presentation at an executive roundtable in 2 hours. I was so freaking out. But it was lovely. The roundtable was amazing. I forgot about the pain and I was able to do everything. And then one of the lovely women who was part of the group actually took me to an after hours. Well, they closed at 8 and we went 10, 15 minutes before they closed. And I was ushered in for my peoples in Canada. Guys, no waiting. This clinic was beautiful. It was in McLean, Virginia, which is this super high-end shishi place. And it was so easy and so seamless. They took me in, 2 nurses were on me. There was a scribe, a guy who actually writes what the nurses say. It was so amazing. It was just really great. Super painful. I've never had stitches on my anything. I was just sweating from my whole body. It was disgusting. And it was swollen, couldn't do anything, couldn't wash or dress myself. I'm getting used to things and I still have to bag it, but hopefully it's going to come out tomorrow. So all of that to say, it's been a very eventful, crazy week. A personal injury is it's one of the highest stressors. I remember reading the highest stressors in life are, I think, was it the first night in jail, first night of the death of a spouse. These are big time, and personal injuries, one of the biggest, I think, in the top 3. So it rates up there with first night in jail, you guys. Horrible. And thank God it wasn't anything bigger. And I just can't believe the angels, and Nikki Odell, who was in the roundtable with us, she actually waited, even though she didn't tell me, she waited in the parking lot for me to come out. She didn't want me to Uber with my hand that way. It was just unbelievable. So lovely. Everybody going out of their way for just such a small thing, but it's it's a small thing, but it's a big thing when it happens to you. So I am back. So what are we talking about today is presentations. I have been making presentations. I'm going to be making one next week in New York. And one of the things that I'm talking about is 6 ways to start a presentation that wows. Because last week, if you remember, we talked about how it takes 15 seconds for buyers to bounce from actual PowerPoint decks. Now, this is even harder, although the same principles apply. But when you're standing in front of them, although you get the first blush of that interest when they stare you down, because at least you're there in their face, they're still going to zone out if you're not saying anything interesting. Part of the research that I presented last week was it last week or 2 weeks ago? My God, time has warped on me. It's the first three slides. If they read the first three slides, they're guaranteed to finish it statistically. So here are 6 ways I've thought of that I've looked up, I've used, and research shows that these are the things that compel people to keep watching you. So the first is say something controversial. So there was an example here that I read about a TED Talker. So TED Talks are these, 20-minute, super intellectual, fun, funny, short form based, very famous and viral talks. And they're invite only to speak, invite only to be an audience to, and they're revered in the speaking circuit as the best in show. So that's why there's a lot of these examples that I'm going to give you is TED. It's called TED Talk. So one of the TED Talkers, the example for saying something controversial was most people who speak at TED are here because they succeeded. And this guy said, I'm here because I didn't. So that's one thing that's like totally opposite of what's expected. So if you say that, people are going to be interested. Number 2 is say something funny. Now, humor as a speaker is always risky. You're not a stand-up comedian. Even as a stand-up comedian, it's super risky. But when you're just a speaker and you're not a comedian, you have no idea whether it's going to be offensive, it's going to be funny, or what do you do if it bombs? So, I mean, it's risky, but it works. It really works. I mean, humor works in every case. Now, the example that I gave is the one that I remembered. My hero, Dr. Wayne Dyer, who's a motivational speaker who passed away, unfortunately, I guess 5 years ago. And he famously started every talk, and some of which that I saw. I'm going to drink. So he would start with, I turned 72. Oh, bless me. He would start with, I turned 72 yesterday and I almost had sex. And he would say, and I almost had sex the day before and the day before and the day before that. So he's just making a funny joke, but it's how he started every speech. And I remember that because even though I knew I had seen him speak so many times, it still got a laugh. And it definitely got the audience engaged. And you don't have to talk about something so risque as his sex life, obviously, but it's humor definitely breaks the ice and starts the eyeballs getting hooked onto you. Number 3 example of how to wow an audience to start a presentation is ask a question. So one of the examples is, hi, I've got a question. How many of you can draw? So in that case, it's very intriguing because it's such a very simple question, right? In my case, for example, I would ask, hi, how many of you are ashamed of your elevator pitch? Or how many of you hate doing elevator pitches? Or whatever it is, because you know that if they think they're not doing it well, they're going to hate it. So ask a question. Now, what is the science behind asking a question? I'm a certified ICF certified coach. So one of the things that the science shows about asking questions is people have 95% of their responses are programmed into their subconscious and they develop until the age of 35. And the rest of, 5% of the rest of your thinking ability is your conscious mind. The part that is analytical, can question. The subconscious mind is the one that's programmed and it's automatic. It's like when somebody sneezes, to say Gesundheit just from, or, bless you, from that programming. So when you ask a question, though, it kicks people out of that 95% of their programming and forces them to go into the creative mind, which is the 5% of their thinking, to be able to give you an answer. So it's questions are often used to engage people in conversation and in sales conversations because you are completely getting their untrained or untapped creative mind to start working on how to answer those questions, and they're engaged. So why not use it to engage your audience? Okay, number 4 way to start a presentation that wows is tell them why they should listen to you. So here's an example of brain scientist Dr. Lara Boyd, and her TED Talk starts with, after watching this, your brain will not be the same. So this is like super teasing, super why they should listen to you, giving you a little bit of what's to come. Number 5 way to start a presentation that wows is tell them your credentials. Why not impress them? Because that will gain some attention. So this is the same speaker, Dr. Lara Boyd. She continues with, "I'm Dr. Lara Boyd, and I'm a brain researcher here at the University of BC." So her first line was, "After watching this, your brain will not be the same." And you can start with that, or you could start just with the, "I'm Dr. Lara Boyd, and I'm a brain researcher here at the University of BC." So if people are impressed, if there's credentials enough to wow, they're going to be hooked into what you're telling them. And lastly, the last way to start a presentation that wows is tell them the payoff. So a marketing help guru, Mel Robbins, she's actually become more like a lifestyle guru now. Um, this is an excerpt from her speech, is that she starts with, "I'm going to tell you everything I know in less than 18 minutes about how to get what you want." So very intriguing, right? Why should you be watching this? And this, for me, when I speak, would be, I'm going to tell you everything I learned in 18 years of saying no to suppliers, of what to say to get a meeting with a buyer in a corporation, because that's what I did for 18 years. I said yes or no to vendor requests for a meeting with me. So I hope that was helpful. I tried not to flail this too much. I tried not to show it too much. I already shocked you a little bit. Hopefully you're not having your tea and eating anything with it. But that is the way of the 6 ways to start a presentation that wows. I'm going to be curious about how all 3 of the channels are live watching this right now. And if this works, I'm going to be doing it every week. I mean, that's why I'm on StreamYard. It's a multiple sharing platform. So that's all from me. And I look forward to seeing you next week. I will be here before I go and actually use these on a speech in New York next week. Take care.